Good morning, welcome to a new video. And we got some super cool weather here today. It's misty, or I don't know how to say it, but it's maybe overcast, low clouds to the ground. And it's been this for days. Every time that I woke up, we always got this misty atmosphere in the landscapes. And today I had the time to go out and finally take some pictures of it. The wrong lens. I need a wider lens. Sometimes with doing this for years, it's like an automatic thing to take the right lens, but sometimes you take the wrong one. I've put on my Sigma 18-35 on here to photograph a tree behind you guys, and I think it's an old oak tree, and it got that green grass. You got that green moss on it, and now with the mist in the landscape, it gives that really majestic atmosphere in the landscape. It's like, yeah, it's something else. Because I also think for myself, I'm not a really great woodland photographer, but every time I see pictures from photographers that are taking pictures of trees in the forest, I'm like always, oh yeah, nice, that's cool. I don't really have an eye for it to capture those beautiful parts of trees in the landscape. I always think the woodland is too cluttered to take a photo of it. But this time, this oak tree, it's so amazing. So I hope with my editing I will make it a little bit majestic. But I also think I will just turn around and photograph that pine tree here in the landscape with all the mist, because it's just an obvious shot that I have to do, I guess. Or I have the feeling I have to do that, and I also think the mist is slowly already going, so I need to go fast, I think. So photographing this tree wasn't that super easy, because it looked very obvious. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna shoot that photo. But with the oak tree standing so close to me, the branches came into the frame of this picture. So I have to move around and search a little bit for composition where the branches weren't coming into the frame. We got this tree here on the right side for you guys. It also came into the frame, and it was almost impossible to keep it out, because to shoot this tree with the other trees here in the back, I would have need to use my 50mm lens, but that didn't work out because it was a little bit too narrow for this picture. I couldn't get the whole tree into the picture, and so I have to put on the Sigma 18-35. And I'm photographing at 35mm, but then this tree is still included in this frame, so I was like, I need to search for a composition where the tree is not like it's coming into the frame and it's like what's doing it there in the frame, but frame it up like it feels really natural to have that tree into the frame. So this is how it looks on the back of the camera, the beautiful trees. And like you can see, we got some water here in the right corner, and I think I'm gonna edit it out, because it's not bringing something extra to this picture. It's more like it leads our eye away from the picture a little bit, because it doesn't supposed to be there in this picture. I don't want it into the picture, so I'm thinking to get rid of it, because with the puddle into this small piece of the road, it reflects the light of the sky, and my eye gets drawn away from it to the picture. So that's why I want it out of this picture. Put on the Tokina 11-60mm onto the body, And I'm shooting it in portrait orientation, this composition. I'm using this tree here and the branches on top to create a natural frame around this composition that I'm making. I'm also using this log that is lying into this pound here to make the composition a little bit more interesting. So I'm also gonna shoot it from the other side of this tree here, this side, to make it a little bit more minimalistic, but also use the reflections into this lake to make it a little bit more interesting. When I was looking for the other one on the other side of the tree, I was like, maybe I can use this tree to make it a little bit more interesting, or maybe this composition is a little bit too much, because I'm using the elements to frame the composition, using that log into the foreground, using the reflections in the lake, and then the trees further back into this landscape. And I already took the picture, so I'm gonna show it to you guys so you can decide for yourself what is the best picture of this lake here. What do you like the most? But for this composition I was also struggling a little bit, because like in last week's video I wasn't really thinking too much about my compositions, and I was more going on my gut feeling for my compositions. But today I'm more aware of what I'm doing in this composition, and with that doing, I was this tree was touching our main tree here, or the tree that's creating for our natural frame around this composition. So I have to move around a little bit to just make it that they're not touching each other. That was a little bit difficult. And also again on this tree, we got those small leftovers from branches that are broken off in the past, and that was also touching a tree further into this landscape. So I was really thinking like, oh, I don't want that to touch there, and I don't want that tree to touch the tree over there. So I really had to move around a little bit. Guys, you know I'm not the best at this woodland photography, minimalistic thing, so I'm trying something here. I've put the 50mm onto the camera body, and I'm shooting inside this forest, and I'm just shooting the tree trunks, and we still got a little bit of haze in the landscape, but not too much. And I just came across a nice fella here that is walking here, and he was like looking at me, "What are you doing?" And I told him like, yeah, I'm making a video for on YouTube about landscape photography. I was like, what? On that small thing? And I was like, yes, on that small thing, because it's an Osmo Pocket 3 and it's a really small screen. He was like, can you see yourself on that small screen? I was like, yeah, I just see enough to just film myself. So back to the photos that I'm taking here. I saw all these trees that are curved. And I was like, oh, really, I really like that, the movement in the trees. It's not just a straight tree. And on the first tree that that's closest to the camera, we got a little bit of that greenish blue moss on it, and then we got the light browns on the trees, and some other shades on the trees. But that tree really stood out for me. But I'm placing it on the left side of the composition, because on the right we also got some trees that are curved. And in between those trees it's like an open place. I hope it will lead our eye to the tree furthest into the back, because it's also with a little bit of a curve into it. And I thought it looked nice. I already told you guys, I don't really have an eye for this kind of photography. But I want to try it, I want to learn it more, and if you want to learn something you have to put time into it, try it, fail at it. I think I've managed to make a composition that's a bit of pleasing to the eye. You have to give me some feedback on this picture, because I don't really know if it's good or not, what I can improve. Maybe it wasn't the right composition, maybe you would do it differently. But I think for me it's an okay picture. When I was walking out of this forest, I saw this birch tree standing into the landscape, and it was just in between two pine trees. And with coming out of this forest, the haze is a little bit thicker out of the forest. That haze creates for the backdrop of this picture, and then with the birch tree with the white trunk and the white patches on the trunk, and then surrounded with the greens, the yellow grass on the bottom of this picture. A really cool atmospheric photo. Just the vibe in this photo is so nice. And I'm using a shallow depth of field to just focus only on this birch tree, to get that only in focus, to have the pine trees, they're standing a little bit towards us, so there's a little bit out of focus. So we get that first soft glance of trees in this picture. Then we got that beautiful trunk of the birch tree, and then behind that, with the haze in the landscape, we got the other pine trees acting like a darker backdrop for this beautiful picture. And because I'm using the tele lens and I'm using the pine trees, this one here and also this one, I'm using them to create that natural frame around our birch tree. I'm gonna stop rambling away because I'm just talking this video full of about the picture. Here's the picture, enjoy. I think I'm taking the last photo for today because really close by the mist is gone, but further into the landscape we still got some mist, and I'm shooting with the tele lens very far away in the landscape. I'm photographing another tree. It's a pine tree with three different trunks, and the shape of it's really cool. And with this yellowish brownish grass in the foreground, it's super soft, because with using the tele lens, the grasses in the front, they get compressed, so it's like a very soft foreground. Then you get that pine tree, and also on the right side of this picture, I'm shooting it in portrait orientation. There's another pine tree, but more like a Christmas tree. That's just a piece into the frame, and that creates also for a foreground element in this picture. So for this picture I bumped up my ISO to crank up my shutter speed for this picture, because when you're using a tele lens at its full length, every little shakiness you will see it in the picture. Even when I'm just standing here on the ground, if I move, the vibrations will go into the tripod, and even that you will see in this picture. So I'm shooting it at the ISO 640, 400 of a second, and at f9 to have that tree sharp enough. If you are still here watching, thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe and like to the channel, because liking and watching the videos, it will grow this channel a lot. If you have questions, don't hesitate, put them down in the description below, and I will answer your questions. Again, I'm trying something here, and I've put the Tokina 11 to 60mm onto the body, and I'm super close to this birch tree, and you can see it's covered with moss, and between those two trunks here I have a view on I think it's an oak tree, not entirely sure, but it's also covered with moss, and it really caught my eye. And like you saw, I've put on the circular polarizer and D filter onto the camera, or onto the lens. And maybe you're wondering, is it really necessary to use it now in this forest here? I was wondering the same. So I've just tried it, and I will show you. This is the one without, the one with. Gonna switch between them, and you can see the difference between using a polarization filter and using it not. This is not the final image, it's just the raw image, and you can see it in the front of the trees or the sides of the trees. You can see the lights going away onto the leaves, and it's a little bit more yellowish. I was really surprised when I saw it here on the screen that it really is helping reducing the glare in this picture. Maybe I have to use this filter a little bit more for my landscape photography. My f number is at f14 because we're super close to this tree, and because I also want to have our tree in the back as sharp as possible without using focus tech. So this is the last picture for the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, like, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.